going on, creeps? We are actually headed to the car wash right now because Nessy is filthy and we need to get her sparkling nice and shiny so she can feel a little bit better about herself. I know I feel great after a hard day of work and getting home and hitting the shower. You know, that's the nicest feeling in the world. It's getting all cleaned up and feeling extra good. So we're gonna do that, and then I'm gonna give you a little bit of a rundown of the setup in Nessy, my sleeping arrangement, my storage, kind of go around some other stuff. But yeah, until then. Hey, what's going on, creeps? We are out here in Minnesota on this beautiful, chilly, overcast, rainy kind of a day. And I figured to myself, what better day to kind of walk you guys through my setup and introduce you to my Nissan Frontier, which I have named Nessy. We can kind of go into that a little bit later, too, if you're curious. And just kind of, show you how I'm living my life out of my truck and how I get through day to day and just how I'm set up and organized. And, this is by no means a final build. The build hasn't, been completely dialed in yet. It's only been a few weeks. I'm still kind of feng shuiing some stuff around and trying to figure out how to make everything a little bit more easy accessible and kind of, just making life easier to like kind of migrate to the back, get back into the front, kind of make everything that I need at a reach. But I guess we can kind of start on the exterior of the truck. As I said, this is a 2022 Nissan Frontier Pro 4X. I bought this truck a little under a year ago, and I've loved it ever since I bought it. I do some occasional off-roading, but I like to kind of go more on trails. I'm not a big rock crawler by any means, and I'm not looking to become one. I like to get up to the boundary waters and kind of hit some points that are, not totally accessible by car. Eventual goal is to get out to, the northern part of Glacier and potentially even spend a few weeks in Banff, which is my dream. But we're kind of, starting out easy and small. We're not trying to rush through things. So, all right. So here's Nessy. Like I said, I got KO2s on there. Awesome tires. I've had nothing but good experiences with them in the wintertime and just kind of going off-road, getting into some pretty thick mud and, no traction issues. But yeah, this is pretty much how it goes with Nessy. These sport bars, I thought they were cool when I saw the truck. It came with the truck. I didn't put them on myself, but now I'm getting into the realm of wanting to get a topper to put, I'm gonna have window topper and then all that, standard issue stuff. But now I just kind of want to take them off and really kind of dig into this build. the main reason I went with the Nissan Frontier was I don't want to say it's brand loyalty by any means, but growing up, my family, we had a 1991 piss yellow, and I'm not joking on this. The thing was the color of piss with a bunch of rust on it. But we had a 91 D21 hard body, 5 speed with the 2.4 liter, 4-cylinder engine in it, and that's what I learned to drive on when I was 11 to 12 years old, ripping around parking lots and just figuring out the clutch. And before I knew it, I was pretty good at driving a stick. So come time to get my license, I was set. This thing is a lot more comfortable than, say, Tacoma, at least in my opinion. I drove a bunch of Tacomas, and the one big thing was I didn't find them very comfortable. They sat very low in the cab themselves, so I was kind of like I don't know, I was hurting after a half an hour to an hour of a drive, and that wasn't very, conducive for me. So I said nay to that, and then I came across this and was immediately like, yep, this is the one. Drove it for a bit and kept it, and the rest is history. We'll start off with the passenger side. This is how it kind of looks. I'm going to shut this engine off here because I'm wasting gas, and that's no bueno. So yeah, this is my passenger side. I don't usually have a lot of passengers, but I do have like my work bag. So this is for my full-time job. I've got my laptop, my iPad, all my electrical cables and components, extra hard drives, stuff like that. Got my GoPro case, everything that I need. So even when I'm on the road, I can say, hey, I need to go filming and do some stuff. I'm actually just gonna throw that right there. But yeah, I kind of try to keep the front looking as barren as possible, as to not really attract attention. While my windows are tinted, they're not super tinted. So I kind of like to keep it, a little bit more, not attracting as much attention. So down here, I've got some other, like some camera lights, stuff like that. Sandals for, sandal weather, whatever you want to call it. I've got my Stanley thermos, which I use for work quite a bit when it gets cold out. We're kind of transitioning out of that season right now, getting into some warmer weather. So I don't usually, try to do too much, but yeah. Under here, I've got some weird rocks. I'm a rock guy. I'm one of those weirdos that likes to collect rocks when I go camping or go to a waterfront somewhere. But yeah, then I kind of transform this, and we'll kind of get into the kitchen mode here. This is where I keep a lot of stuff for kitchen. As you can see, there is a frame that I built into the truck here. But this is my easy access stuff. I'll kind of get into here first. This is my kitchen drawer. I really think that this is enough that I need. I've got some jet boil, some fluid here. I also have a second type of pot and little pot for it. And then I also have a bigger camp stove kind of burner for, whatever. Obviously, we've got these are super good. I love these ramen noodles from Dragon Star Foods in St. Paul. It's my favorite store. I go there probably once or twice a week to stock up on stuff. But these are my favorite spicy miso tonkatsu ramen noodles. They're great. You get like 2 portions in a pack. But yeah, that's like when I'm feeling a little bit more fancy. Obviously, you can see I've got some canned soups and stuff like that. Noodles. Gotta have your oatmeal for breakfast. And then this chili crisp, which is my favorite. People go to Target and buy the Momofuku whatever chili crisp they find. This is the stuff right here. I don't even know what it's called. I just know what it looks like. I get it at the market whenever I go. Like I said, Dragon Star Foods. This stuff is funky. It's umami. It's got like, you can see in there, it's got like peanuts and like Szechuan peppercorns, chili flakes. Like it's, I mean, it's just got a little bit of everything and it's funky. I promise you, the first time you have it, you're gonna go, "Whoa, that is a funky taste." And then after a while, you go to eat other chili crisp, and you go, "What the hell is this? I don't want to eat that." Anyway, I've got some sauces and some teas and whatever, just stuff. But like I said, kind of a kitchen setup, and that just slides in and out of there. I've got some extra cups, some coffee creamer that spilled in the bottom, little towel, but underneath here, I do have a bunch of different things. I got some Clorox, bleach. I do have a dish sink that I can, not with trash paper, which we will take care of later. I do have a kitchen sink that I can wash my pots and pans with when I use them. I don't use them a ton during the week. I am primarily for camping and things like that. I am pretty nifty with the jet boil right now. But yeah, and then over here I've got silverware, can opener, some scissors, soy sauce, the always delicious Buldak hot sauce packets so you can just add them to your noodles. I've got my olive oil for cooking and then some extra little itty bitty things like that. And that kind of brings me to the rest of this side of the. Now, when I'm just in regular day-to-day mode, this is kind of how it looks. Like everything's covered up, nothing's unpacked. This is my gym bag for when I get out of work. I keep my clothes in here for whatever, and I got some extra things in here, like some water and whatnot. But yeah, I'll just usually take this and throw it in the front seat when I'm going to get ready to kind of get tucked in for the night. But things I always keep out are my jet boil, like actual little, I don't even know what they call that, canister. And then under here, which I'm sure everybody's familiar with, is my Jackery, which I have wired in permanently. I have yet to bring this inside to charge. It fires up every morning and it's plugged in and ready to go. Like right now, we are sitting at 100%. And I don't think I've ever had to deal with it. So I think I've already covered this. This is my kind of accordion light, which I love. And this is kind of my cooking setup for when I'm, getting ready to cook for the night. So what we'll do here is usually move that out of the way. Bring this over here. Oh, look, some more hot sauces. In case you guys don't know, I'm a hot sauce fiend. I believe that there are different types of hot sauces for different types of food. Breakfast foods, certain types of breakfast foods always get Cholula and maybe Valentina. Valentina is probably another one of my favorites. But yeah, ramen noodles get a certain type, chili oils, things like that. The list goes on and on. If you want to know more, you can ask me and we can kind of dive into it from there. But, so this is kind of how I get set up. Like my sleeping bag's over there for now. I usually sit in that back corner over here and then I'll cook over here on nights when I'm not really feeling like dropping the tailgate and pulling out all this kitchen stuff from down here and getting it all set up, which I will do in future videos. And when it gets a little bit nicer out, the weather's still kind of, whatever right now. But definitely plan on doing some hardcore cooking. As I said, I'm a chef, was a chef. I mean, do you ever stop being a chef? I don't think you ever stop being a chef. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So this is kind of how I get set up. Like I said, I've got all my stuff I need. I can usually reach this with the door closed. I can grab some of this stuff out right here without even having to open the door. So when I've got my covers up all into the window and I'm tucked in for the night, I can usually grab some stuff like that, whenever I need it. All right, got some of this put back. Oh, and then before I forget, I do have another area of it where I keep stuff. Right behind this seat underneath, I've got my rice cooker, which I can reach when I'm up here. I usually have my passenger seat pulled forward pretty far, so I can reach like I've got a lunchbox that's insulated. I can usually keep some things in here at night. I've got my shaker bottle, a dinner plate, um, and then like I said, my little mini rice cooker here. I just plug into the Jackery. Used it a bunch of times, and it's great, and I love it. And that's kind of how I am cooking and just living when I'm in the back right there. All right, so now we're going to go into the driver's seat, which I like to keep this area as plain as possible because it's kind of like my normal area. But as you can see, I've got like my GoPro mount. I've got a phone mount here for doing some filming. I keep a couple of hats here, just because I'm a hat person. I've also got a ton of different beanies in here. And then I also kind of keep some, home care stuff in here. Don't mind the terrible habit here, but, it's a stress reliever. We all have stress in our lives. Let's not act like it's not a thing. But I do try to maintain and be healthy. I've got some super greens here. I try to drink some of that every day. I've got an emergency dollar for nothing costs $1 anymore. So what am I even talking about? What does it even matter? Got some lotions, O'Keeffe's hand cream. Like I said, I'm a delivery driver. I'm outside in the elements all day. This stuff is amazing, especially after a hot shower, putting that in. Tums, because, I'm an old man and my tummy hurts, but I'm being brave about it. So get off my back. Aspirin, stuff like that. And then a couple little notebooks for ideas and whatnot. And I just try to kind of maintain that. And, I'm a writer, not necessarily a good one, but I'm a writer and I like to, whenever I have ideas, I come down. Oh, also, this is my outlet for my Jackery, which runs underneath my bed and then comes out the other side over here and plugs into my Jackery. And that anytime the truck goes on, that Jackery is charging, and it's amazing. Other than that, I do have like a little aftermarket storage tray that I installed here, which holds my nighttime glasses, which I know, again, it makes me sound like I'm an old man. I am kind of an old man, I'm 38 years old. It's sometimes you just have to embrace it. And then I just kind of keep some breath mints and, I got like a tire pressure gauge, my Sharpies. I love Sharpies. Addicted. It's a problem. Ask anybody. Anyway, we're going to go into the back here. This is my bedroom side, I guess is what you could call it. Under here, same kind of deal as the kitchen, but I've got clothes, tons of them. Some sweatpants, some socks, some shirts, some underwear, whatever you want to call it. I do have that's the bag for my sleeping bag, but like I've got some emergency pants that I keep kind of stashed up under there, but I don't really keep a whole lot more. As you can see, this is kind of a minimum setup. I don't like having a ton of stuff because then it's just more stuff for you to keep track of, kind of a thing. But the part I did want to show you, which is kind of a pain because it brings me kind of the point of the whole build was to have this. These are my window covers, by the way. Have this option to have, and there's some Febreze anyway. All right, so I wanted to kind of show you this part. This whole bed here, this is just 2 layers of memory foam. And while it has been comfortable, it hasn't been super comfortable. It deflates at night. It kind of gets thin. In the morning when I'm waking up, it kind of wakes me up a little too early, just because my body's kind of like, hey, you're sleeping on plywood. And I know that. I'm not an idiot. I'm sleeping on plywood, and this is not going to sustain me forever. So I am going to get a camping actual mattress that has memory foam, and then actually like upholstery, like what do they call that kind of foam they put into like couches and stuff. Something I can actually sleep comfortably on. But this whole point of it was to have that kind of go up. As you can see here, this is actually supposed to pop up so you can get underneath it. But something I wasn't planning on was the memory foam was my free option. I had it. I had the memory foam, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give this a try first. Go for it. Um, it's been fine, but like I said, old man bones. Gotta keep it moving. So, until then, that kind of utilization of that storage is kind of not happening right now. It will be. We'll get around to it later on. I got to tuck this kind of stuff back in. Ugh. But also kind of a pain. Ugh. It's having to deal with this every time I lift up the mattress. There is another lid on the other side with the kitchen stuff that's even bigger that completely opens up, and that whole panel gets exposed, and I have a lot more stuff underneath it. Um, but like I said, once I get the new mattress and I can roll it up because it'll be more portable, we'll kind of dive into the storage a little bit more. But yeah, if anything else, we'll kind of show you a little bit more on how I get kind of tucked in here at night. My normal nights, I'll dive in a little bit more with the next video. I'm really going to kind of give you a whole rundown on how I pull in at night, get set up, but that seat's push forward, lean forward. I've got windows covers for every single window, and I usually lay out, and my ankles just hit the armrest on the other side, and actually it's been very comfortable for me. Like I said, I've got my mummy bag here. It's a Mountain Hardwear. It's good for down to 20 degrees, I believe. And then I've got my little table that I set up over here. I can set up the Jetboil, and I've got the Jackery, so I can put I have a one of those like 3-in-1 chargers. I can charge my AirPods, my watch, and my phone at night, plugged into the Jackery. And I'm kind of a weirdo. I need rain sounds, I gotta have rain sounds at night because I have severely bad tinnitus. And so if it's too quiet, then I am just kind of SOL, and I'm going to be listening to my ears ring all night, and it's horrible. So I have an app that I can customize a thunderstorm to, and I listen to that every night, and it puts me right to sleep, and I love it. It's fantastic. So, a little bit of creature comfort that you kind of got to give yourself in these situations because you're giving up a lot. I do play video games. I've got my laptop, so I'll set that up on the little table, play some Xbox, through Game Pass and all that stuff and cloud gaming. And I'm an old school man at heart. I'm either playing Skyrim or Fallout of some variant, and that's my life in a shell pretty much, is living this setup and loving this truck and hoping that I can continue to upgrade this truck. Like I said, I'm looking at getting a topper for the back. That hasn't come to fruition quite yet, but I've got a lot of plans, and the build isn't remotely finished, but neither am I, because this is a whole exploratory area of my life where the summer is going to be quite interesting. I'm going to be doing a lot of different things that I normally don't do, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope you guys are there with me throughout the journey. But yeah, I got to get Nessy kind of ready for tonight and get tucked in. And it's getting a little bit colder out, and I don't like that because I'm a Southern boy, and I live in Minnesota now, and I'm not a huge cold weather guy. Although I've gotten a little bit used to it, and it's not so bad. But hey, we'll figure it out. We always do. Until the next time, keep it creepy, y'all.